Are we live? Are we live?
No.
We're
Yes.
live.
Yay.
Hello, everyone. I'm Lonnie,
I'm Amber.
and we're Untitled Our Network, brought to you by Infinity Flux out of Hickson, Tennessee. Here with the latest Rick and Morty recap, titled the Ricklantis Mixup. And first off, this isn't the episode. I know we have like the graphic to show you which episode it is and blah blah blah. But don't get mad and leave. Watch, please.
Yeah, you might like us.
Yeah, we're going to give our thoughts, and we would appreciate a subscription and all that good stuff. But we're going to talk about, we just watched it, and granted, I mean, we are like, a day late. It aired last night, but we were busy at Wizard World Nashville, so
Yay!
So we just now finished watching it, and this was an episode. The title was very misleading.
Yes.
The beginning of the episode was very misleading, but it's kind of like true Rick and Morty fashion.
Yep. Something completely different happens that you expect.
Yeah, absolutely different. And so they start out like going to like our Rick and Morty. Mm-hmm. They start out going to like Atlantis, the lost city of Atlantis, and they're getting ready to go. And like this, another Rick and Morty pop up, and they're like trying to raise money for like the reconstruction of the Citadel where Rick destroyed at the beginning of season 3, this season. And God, that seems like forever ago.
It really does.
But well, I mean, it was a lot longer ago than this season because they aired that first episode by itself back in April.
Right.
And then they've only been doing this season for about 2 months now. But there wasn't an episode last week. I'm assuming because of the Labor Day weekend. And so this one, was the first one. And this episode tied heavily into the overall story arcs of, the whole series. And it was really revealed at the end, and we'll get to that here in a little bit. But, they show up. This episode, really, in my opinion, was the funniest one of the season so far. It had so many gags. This was almost, like, I don't want to say this is what it was, but this might be the closest thing we get to interdimensional cable, because there was a bunch of different crap going on.
Yeah.
And you got to see, like, the commercial about the wafers was really funny.
Yeah.
This follows, like, probably want to check the chat, just in case.
Oh, yeah.
We are following live chat, so if you have any thoughts on the episode, drop into the...
I turned my volume off before I got the notification, so I forgot.
Drop into the chat, say hello, give your thoughts on the episode if you hadn't seen it, or, hit that subscribe button and enter to win our Loot Crate contest, which we just drew a winner yesterday. Congratulations to Jared Miller for winning the Amazon gift card that we gave away at Wizard World, and also to Zach Johnson, who won the September Loot Crate.
Yeah.
And he's replied once that was his email, but then when I told him he won the Loot Crate, he hasn't replied back. So, but we know he's there, so we're going to hold on to that for him. But anyway, this episode followed several stories. We don't see the core, C-137, Rick and Morty. We don't see them except for the beginning and the very end of the episode.
Yeah.
And they refuse to go to the Citadel.
Yeah.
And this episode would have turned out completely different, I think, if they would have.
If they had went, it'd been,
Do you think they would have figured out that, oh, God, okay, spoilers ahead. It was revealed at the very end of this episode that like through the whole episode, you're in the closing hours of an election, which basically you've got one Morty.
They've been rebuilding the Citadel. You left out that's why they came to collect donations. Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
And they came to collect donations for rebuilding the Citadel. They're like, no, we're not going to go do that. We're the ones who destroyed it.
Yeah. Yeah, so they figured, they were like, oh, God, it was you guys. Never mind. And there was a very funny joke that was thrown in there at the end, but I'm not even going to repeat it.
Yeah.
Go watch the episode.
Yeah,
it was very funny.
Offensive, but very funny.
It was. Which, that's Rick and Morty. That's what they do.
I don't know. That was the first time I'd really heard something like that from them, and I've heard a lot of stuff from them.
Yeah.
That was just a new one for them. That's why I was like...
It was just in passing, because it's like one of those that like made my jaw hit the floor. And it was hilarious, but well worth the watch. Check out the episode if you hadn't already. A lot of funny little one-liner gags. So you have like this election going on, and there's a bunch of different Ricks, and like you've got like like the cool Rick, and middle management Rick, and smart Rick, and stupid Rick, and all these other, there's like a different Rick for every timeline, every conceivable type of person you could think of. And so there's a bunch of different Ricks, like probably half a dozen of them, running for president of the Citadel and this overall like big city that they have, where Rick and Morty's. Nothing but Rick and Morty's. And then you've got one Morty running. And about halfway through the episode, I was like, something ain't right. And especially kind of the way he was carrying himself and stuff. Like I think when he fired his campaign manager, that was kind of what set off the red flag.
Yeah.
He ended up being the same Evil Morty from, I think it was season 2. I can't remember which.
I'm pretty sure it was season 1.
Okay. Yeah, because they went through season 2 wondering where he was at, and he never showed up.
Yeah.
It was one of those things that you felt like they were going to tackle again at some point, but you started getting the feeling, because it's been so long, that it was going to be a dangling plot thread that never went anywhere.
Right.
But because
surprise!
Yeah, there was the Evil Morty in season 1 who was over like the grand mastermind of everything. He had like a robotic Rick. He'd replaced his Rick's brain with circuitry, and the core Morty from that we followed the whole time asked Rick. Rick said something along the lines of you don't want an ambitious Morty or something, because things get bad. And he was like, well, what happens? And he won't tell him. This is what happens. The Evil Morty is back. He is now the president, democratically elected president, and in like the span of like 30 seconds kills everybody who disagrees with him.
Mm-hmm.
And so he ends up in charge of the whole operation, and it's been like 2 seasons in the making.
Mm-hmm.
So through this whole episode, there's a couple of stories followed. One is like there is a Rick who goes crazy. They're using the brain waves of a very happy Rick who is hooked up to like this fake virtual reality thing. It's like making him have good thoughts, and the good thoughts are making some kind of a secretion that is flavoring these wafers that they're manufacturing, like candy bars. And it's like a Willy Wonka type thing, because there's like there's a Willy Wonka Rick.
Yes.
That like shows up at the end. Which is absolutely funny, and he ends up like this Rick like goes crazy and takes the Rick that they're using to make candy bars hostage, and he just snaps, I guess. And that's one major part of the episode. And then the other one is this like basically good Rick gets stuck with like a corrupt Morty cop as his partner, and that whole deal kind of carries through, which was a lot of once again, even though this was the funniest episode in my opinion of the season, there's still a lot of deep crap in it.
There is.
There was a Stand By Me reference in this episode. A bunch of Mortys escape what looks to be like a Hogwarts type school that they're like training Mortys. It almost seems like Mortys who have screwed up in the past and gotten their Ricks killed.
Yeah.
there's like a school that looks almost like something.
How many Ricks have you had? He's like 5. Well, at least you're excelling at something. And then they had a slow Rick in the classroom. Did I graduate this year?
Yeah, I noticed your reaction on that. That was like...
Oh my God, that's funny.
But this episode, I mean, it was cool because we were following that, and then the group of Mortys, they escape the school and they want to go find this wishing portal. And it was revealed at the very end of the episode that it was just like a garbage dump where they dump all the garbage. Yeah. And one of the Mortys jumped into it.
Killed itself.
We don't know that he died.
Yeah, he did.
But yeah, he probably did. He just landed on a garbage heap. But yeah, that was a very Stand By Me type deal because there was like a fat Morty. There was like a Morty with like glasses. And it looked just like the kids from Stand By Me sitting around the campfire at one point. They were having like the same type of conversation, and you could tell it was just a blatant reference to the movie, Mm-hmm. And
that was neat.
It was really cool because they jumped back and forth to different things in this episode, and it gave almost like an interdimensional Cable vibe. Not quite, but it jumped around a lot more than a typical episode because it was focusing on like 5 different areas.
Yeah.
It was focusing on the election overall. It was focusing on the Evil Morty who was revealed at the end. It was we had a couple of parts with the core Rick and Morty at the beginning and the very tail end after credit sequence. And then we had the cops, and then we had like news stuff. The news programs, which was funny because there was those Ricks who were doing the news show.
Oh, God.
It was like
different versions of each other.
Yeah, it was like C116, C116B, C116C, and they were like
they just got a little rougher.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
They looked like absolute garbage the further down the alphabet they got, and that was pretty funny. Favorite part of the episode?
When they were in what was that club called with all the Mortys?
Oh, God.
What was it called? It's not
Creepy Morty.
Yes. I was thinking awkward, but I was like, that's not right. The Creepy Morty Club. And then, like, the cowboy one was like, this cowpoke's just gonna get on out of here. You don't have to worry about me. And I was like, oh my God.
That actually was.
That was really funny.
I had forgotten all about that scene. Because the cops, the bad, corrupt Morty cop and the good Rick, they end up going to like these different places. They end up, the corrupt Morty ends up killing basically everybody he comes in contact with because he's just a crooked cop.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to follow the rules. He just wants to kill everybody. And there was that thing where they were manufacturing, it looked like a meth lab, but they were manufacturing like counterfeit portal gun fluid.
Yes.
And that Rick jumped through the portal and it basically just melted him.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my God. I was like, ah.
Oh, but yeah, I mean, this was I think this episode, especially at the very beginning, you've got the core Rick and Morty saying, yeah, we're going to Atlantis and stuff. And so then they, they hop into the portal. Well, then the end of the episode, because they didn't go to the Citadel and this whole episode happened without them, they come back and they're talking about like hooking up with mermaids and stuff, and they're going to have to start doing this every week.
They were really excited.
So like they finally had like a great adventure, nothing went wrong. But we didn't get to
see it, so.
Which this actually followed, like the last episode. Last episode was the rest and Ricklaxation, wasn't it?
Yes.
Where they decided that they were going to start going on vacations, and it carried over into this episode, but we didn't get to see the good times.
Right.
They just want to show us all the crap that goes wrong, which I don't really...
Which is maybe why they can't take vacations. Maybe they're meant to go fix all that wrong crap.
Maybe. Oh, there we go, getting deep again, Amber. We can't be doing that.
Cut it out. Oh my God.
But yeah, I mean that's basically what it was. I think you're right on that, because every time they Because they opted out on this one, and things really got bad.
Shit.
Probably the worst that they've ever been.
Yeah.
Because that Morty, I think he's more dangerous than the Council of Ricks ever thought about being.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
And like, he doesn't even have time. You know, the Council of Ricks at least had order and structure. They might have been corrupt, but, you know, they at least listened to you before they put a gun to your head and blew your brains out, you know.
Yeah. It reminded me of, like, Kill Bill, where the woman takes over the Asian mafia or whatever. And, like, the one person is, like, questioning her. And she hops onto the table and goes over there and chops his head off. And it says, if anybody else has a problem, now's the time to speak.
I think I actually saw that.
Yeah.
It's like one of the parts of the movie I actually saw. Yeah, that's basically what happened. He eliminated everybody. And what was even better is I think we have, maybe 3 episodes left this season. And at the very end of this episode, they're like, oh, there's no way anything happened at the Citadel that's going to affect us long term or anything.
Which is a dead give on of it is.
I guarantee they're going to end up at that Citadel in the season finale, and then we're going to end up having to wait another 2 years for season 4.
Probably.
Which is going to suck. But anyway, yeah, this was, in my opinion, I'm going to give this episode a 10. Okay. Straight up. Well, what do you give it?
Probably like an 8. Just because I feel like the humor wasn't equally balanced with the dark side of it. I feel like there was too much, and that says a lot for me because I'm a pretty morbid person. But I was just like, there was a lot of darkness to it, a little too much for my taste in a Rick and Morty episode anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't just serious. There was a lot of dark crap in this one.
Yeah,
but it was funny. I mean,
I didn't say it wasn't funny. Yeah. I just don't think it was balanced enough.
Okay.
I don't. And I don't think there was enough funny to it.
I mean, you're going to have that. Like the interdimensional cable episodes, for the most part, they were all funny. Like there wasn't really enough dark. It was just mostly funny.
Right. And they've been really good about balancing that this season.
Yeah.
And this episode, not so much. And I was just like, And there was so many different storylines. It was really hard for me to, like, keep up with everything.
Yeah.
And it all eventually tied together at the end, but...
This is one of those, I think, for anybody who rates this a low episode, I think it would rate higher on a second viewing.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I really need to watch it again.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'll never watch it again. There's definitely been worse episodes.
Oh, we're definitely... I could see us catching this one on a binge sometime soon. Because this is one of those that I think after the season finale ends... this is going to be one of those must-watch episodes that fits into the core narrative throughout the whole series. I think this episode's probably, after the season's over and we've had a little bit of time to kind of sit on it, this episode is probably going to be one of the top 5 or 6 of the series overall as far as important plot.
Yeah, once we finish the season, probably so.
All right.
But before that, it's just... Before that happens, it's just kind of whatever.
Yeah, you didn't know this could have just been a weird stand on its own episode that didn't make anything, but once we had the big Evil Morty reveal, it's like, holy crap, this is one of the most important episodes ever.
Yeah, if it wouldn't have been for that, I probably would have rated it lower.
Yeah. Yeah, if it wouldn't have, I will be honest, if it wasn't for the Evil Morty review, I would have given it probably an 8.5. But this... I've been waiting for this, and it was a satisfying reveal. It put to rest a lot of internet speculation, stuff like that. So, anyway, that's about all we've got on this. We've done about 20 minutes on this, and we just want to talk about the episode overall. It was pretty good, and I don't think we've had a crap episode yet this season.
It seems like I rated one of them like a 5.
You didn't care much for the one that had Noob Noob in it.
Yeah.
The overall episode.
Yeah, that one was sucky.
Like, it had some great parts for you. I thought it was one of the best of the season.
No, it was crappy.
Oh.
Like, they did a better small snippet tribute to Stand By Me than they did Guardians of the Galaxy. Because that's what that was based on. You know it was.
You had to tell me that it was before I realized it.
Oh, I realized it right away.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I see what you mean, and yeah, you're probably right. But I still, if it has to be explained to me, they didn't do a good job of making it obvious.
Okay, just because I had to be explained to you does not mean they didn't do a good job of making it obvious. You just didn't pick up on it. Now, you can't blame you not picking up on it on their part.
Perhaps.
I mean,
perhaps.
The title, Vindicators 3, like it was a sequel to another one. It's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right, well, that is it for our Rick and Morty review. The Ricklantis mix-up, which Atlantis had absolutely nothing to do with this episode except for the first minute and then the last 30 seconds.
Minute, yeah.
The post-credit scenes in this episode, or this season, have really been, they've been knocking them out of the park.
Hilarious, yes.
Yeah, very good bookends on great episodes. So, anyway, hit that subscribe button. Follow the instructions at the top of the screen if you live in the 48 continental United States to enter our Loot Crate drawing. We're not going to draw for this Loot Crate until October 14th during our Saturday Night Crew broadcast that night. And we got a lot of big stuff coming up. Our con schedule is wrapped up for the year. Not going to be doing anything until mid-January at Chattacon, and then also at the end of February at Con Nuga. And then we're going to have some more 2018 stuff being announced in the next few weeks. That's pretty much it. I'm Lonnie.
I'm Amber.
And we're Untitled Nerd Network, brought to you by Infinity Flux. Thanks for watching, and be sure to hit that subscribe button.